what does return to earth wellness actually mean? Right? I was thinking when I was studying to be a wellness coach, what that was gonna look like, right? So I guess let's start at the beginning to talk about what return to earth wellness is. So last year in January, I turned 30. I think that had something to do with it, where I just really was doing a lot of inner work about what I wanted out of life, what I wanted to put out into the world. Was I living my most authentic life? What was I passionate about? And that brought me to wellness coaching. It was so random, honestly. And that's kind of how a lot of things in my life, a lot of the good things in my life have worked out, where things just come in kind of when you're not looking for them or you're asking for answers. So I decided to take the leap and join the National Academy of Sports Medicine Certified Wellness to go for the certificate. So I did that in January, and I did have, well, I still do have a full-time corporate job. So I was studying. I found the course to be pretty extensive for what it is. It's very in-depth. I think if I hadn't been working, I would have been able to finish it faster, but I did have limited time to be working on that. So it did take me most of the year, and I finally passed my exam in October of last year. So between October and now, it's January 2024, I've really been thinking about the kind of wellness coach that I want to be. I think there is so much noise in the wellness space, and adjacent to that, the fitness, nutrition space. It can get really overwhelming for a lot of people. I know for me, who actively consumes this type of media, I'm seeing something about like magnesium, about creatine, about weightlifting, but now do low impact. There's a lot of noise out there, and I just didn't want to add to it, right? I want to be the best wellness coach that I can be and make sure that I'm giving factual information that's not just adding, like I said, to all the noise out there. So that brought me to return to earth wellness, and it was kind of funny. I mean, I have been studying a lot as well over the last year, trying to get in touch with what I consider my spirituality. So I grew up in the church. It never resonated with me, honestly. So I was just trying to find what did, right? I've studied most of the major religions in the world at some point or another. And this past year, I was really studying the the spirituality of the earth, right? And kind of earth energy. And something that I've believed for a long time is one of Einstein's theory that matter is neither created nor destroyed. So if that is true, that's my premise, right? If that's true, then all of the energy that has ever been and ever will be is already on the earth. And to me, that sounds so powerful, right? That to me sounds like there's so much energy to tap into and be a part of. So I've been doing a lot of research just on the interconnectedness of trees, which is fascinating. We'll probably talk about it on here. Mushrooms and different electrical currents that exist on Earth, so specifically mushrooms and how trees communicate and things. So in delving into that, I have found a lot of different, I don't want to say religions, but a lot of spiritualities that center around the earth and nature, and incorporating nature into your life, being a part of nature. Specifically for me, I've been looking into a lot of Celtic traditions, the Druids, and then that opened the door to a lot of different, I want to say philosophers. So I will do a video about all of the things that I've read to come to these conclusions. Well, I wouldn't say they're conclusions, I would say they're a work in progress or a practice, right? So that has led me to wanting to incorporate that into my wellness practice and who I want to be as a wellness coach. So I think it's incredibly important to not only discuss movement, nutrition, sleep, all those good things, but also with that, how can we incorporate some of that earth energy? How can we become more reconnected to earth? I think as human beings, we've just completely lost that in most cases, at least in these industrial societies, right? So how do we incorporate that back into our life? Because we are not only human beings, but we are living beings, and so are plants, so are animals. Like, there's just so much that's alive on earth that we are a part of. And if you believe in evolution, then it's my idea that we evolved in a way to fit with the earth, right? I think that there's so many symbiotic relationships on earth that evolved on purpose. I think as human beings, we've gone way off the rails with how we are originally supposed to be living and all that good things. But that's not to say that, I am, which I love that for them. I'm not like an off the grid mountain living girly. I don't know if that would be for me, honestly. I live in the suburb of one of the more major cities in the American South. So I am very much living a modern life. I'm not what I would consider a homesteader. So for me, it's how do I incorporate that earth energy, that spirituality, being more connected with the earth and nature in daily modern life. So that's honestly what Return to Earth Wellness is going to be about. So we're going to talk traditional wellness topics, but we're going to incorporate nature and earth energy and earth spirituality into that as well. So specifically, I'm thinking, I had a cold the other day. I was feeling a little bit under the weather. So I was drinking a lot of teas. I was making ginger shots, right? Things that are nature-based. So I'm not going straight to the Dayquil. I'm thinking, is there a way that I can harness the earth's healing energy, what the earth has already provided to, heal this cold, right? Or I have so many plants in my house, and yes, they're good for detoxifying the air, sure, but it's also so relaxing, and it changes your perspective a little bit when you have living beings living alongside you. So that's why I referred earlier, like, yes, we're human beings, but we're also living beings, because I think it's important to recognize that a little bit. I think human beings, we get a little superior, which I'm not going to debate about that. That's totally fine. I get it. But caring for other living beings, so I care for my plants. I killed one recently. I am so devastated. I feel like the worst person alive for having brought this living thing into my home and saying I'm going to care for it, nurture it, and then I ended up killing it by repotting it. So having that perspective just shifts things in your brain a little bit. Or, I have pets. I have 2 dogs. They are the light of my life. I love them so much. So it's thinking, living alongside other living beings just kind of changes your perspective when you're out in the world a little bit. So things like that. When we're talking movement, let's talk walks outside, let's talk hiking, let's go to the beach, whatever is available to you. I go to a park down the street that has maybe a half-mile section that's in the woods. So, you know, it's as simple or as complicated as you want to make it, but we can get into, you know, finding your recharge center. I think that's very cool. And maybe, I think most people maybe have found it, but they don't really understand the feeling. So we'll talk about what's the recharge center, and also a little bit of ancestor work, not a ton, because it's not something that I feel super comfortable teaching people about. I'm doing a lot of work myself, which is why I have focused more on Celtic traditions, because again, if we're going with the premise of energies neither created nor destroyed, all the energies on earth, I think that where your ancestors have put their energy, where they have lived and died, is very important to who you end up being. So that's where I'm talking about ancestor work. We will get a little woo-woo, right? I am a crystal girly. I love the crystals. I'm constantly talking about the moon. I have a witchy calendar, a wall calendar in here. You know, I burned a green candle with a bay leaf on it for, you know, some things in the new year. So we will be talking a little bit about that as well. But it's whatever resonates with you. And I think that's the cool thing about wellness in general and about what I want to bring to the space. It's what is going to resonate with you, what's going to bring you the most joy. My motto is always, I want you to love life and I want you to feel good living it. So whatever that means to you, I love that for you. And I would love to have a sense of community building here. I have found a great love in social media, honestly, this past year as I've been looking into these things. I had a love-hate relationship with social media for a really long time, but I do think that there can be such a cool community out there. So I'm on Book Talk, chatting away on TikTok, or in the wellness space, I'm following a lot of like-minded people who are talking a lot about the earth and nature and bringing nature into our wellness and healing. So I really would like to create that community here. And honestly, as somebody who is in their 30s, right, I grew up with the inception of YouTube. So I grew up when it was brand new. I was in high school. So when YouTube was brand new, I was in high school, and there are people who I watched then in 2009 who I still watch now. And I think that's incredible. I think that's so cool that we can build those lasting communities in these spaces, and it can be people from all over the world. So that's really the goal of Return to Earth Wellness, is not only me sharing some of my practices, because wellness is a practice, right? I don't think we'll ever be complete. And there's always new information, new cool information, new scientific innovations, and people are out there finding new things out about trees. I love trees. We'll talk so much about trees, but finding out cool new things. So there's always something to learn, which is so great. And I think it really keeps our brain, you know, fresh and moving as well, and open to the world and open to new perspectives, which is so important. So yeah, I am really excited for you all to follow along. I really, again, hope that we build a community here of people who love living life, want to feel good living life, want to feel authentic living their life, and want to sprinkle in a little nature and a little woo-woo spirituality in there as well. So I'm so excited that you're here. Please subscribe, like it if you like it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.